SrSpookfest here. How's it going? So, I figured I would read some of the stories of these places that I'm going to be going. Um, some cool spots. I definitely got to fix this. I do want to say I was just watching my buddy Mike's channel, Mysteries Untold, and he's talking to Russell Kellett and a UFO experience and stuff. Really cool stuff. So if you haven't checked him out, check that out. I'm just going to hang out and talk for a little bit, and then I'm going to read some stories about these two locations I want to get to. Um, yeah, it's been a while since I've done a live, but later tonight I'll probably do a live again. I don't know what I'm doing yet. But the first story I was going to read is Roanoke, and that's the lost colony here in Virginia, and it's not far from me. And then I'll read another story about some woods. Hi, Terry. Now, yeah. So I'll probably just start this story. Um, I've been doing metal detecting and playing with kids, and it's been fun. The last time I went metal detecting, I didn't find much, but I'll be doing more of that. I'm gonna go over to the big beach today and probably do some metal detecting. And then later tonight, maybe Fort Monroe, um, or maybe the beach. I'm not sure yet, but I do wanna I do want to do more paranormal investigations. It's just the certain places I want to get to. There's one, Old House Woods. It's about an hour away, and that's a really cool story. It's actually in this book. I'll read that one after I talk about the lost colony of Roanoke. But yeah, definitely check out Mysteries Untold. He's doing like a interview with a person that has many experiences with UAP, UFO, even an abduction story. Very cool, good conversation. I was just talking to them, and he's talking about the stuff that he's seen coming out of the ocean. Now, I've had experiences with UFOs and weird stuff. Some of my theories on the lost colony of Roanoke might have to do with UFOs. I'll theorize after I read the story, but probably not a very long live. It's just two ghost stories or missing people stories for this first one. The Vanished Colony and the Mystery of Roanoke. The 16th century English settlement of America's eastern seaboard held out great promise and then simply disappeared. Historians have been wondering what happened ever since. Now, I do think this magazine is a little older, a few years old, but I've watched Josh Gates do some investigating, Expedition X and Expedition Unknown and stuff, and they have found some more information about Roanoke and maybe what happened to the colony. And but this was the first established colony. Um, the other place is Jamestown, that's on the James River and stuff, then up the Chesapeake Bay, which is really cool history, battlefields everywhere, Civil War stuff. Um, but the Lost Colony, Mystery of Roanoke, it all began so well. Walter Riley, always keen to swell his coffers for an enhanced his reputation, had managed to secure a royal patent for the establishment of an English settlement on the other side of the sea in the Atlantic. 1584, royal document puts it, remote heathens and barbarous lands, countries and territories not really possessed by any Christian prince, were ripe for the picking. Needless to say, the indigenous inhabitants of such lands, things in different ways, put promise to the start. It was the start was in 1584. So I do know that Jamestown was like 1590, I believe. Like some of the first settlements. What's up, guys? Hey, Chris, y'all, what you doing? How you doing? Terry, now. thanks for coming in. Just reading a Lost Legend of Roanoke. If you ever heard that story, this one is one of my favorites. And I think that it's only another like hour away if I wanted to go check out Roanoke. And then there's Croatoan Island off of North Carolina. So I'd have to like get a boat to go over to that island and stuff. I don't know if I'll do that, but I do want to check out Roanoke and the first settlement over there. 1584, Riley sent two ships under the command of Philip Armadas and Arthur Barlow on the reconnaissance mission to the coastal areas of North Carolina, and yeah, seemed particularly favorable, and Roanoke Island stood out as a potential hub for the English colony's endeavor. The local the local was there for the Clement and alternative further north, such as Larboard, Newfoundland. Privateers could use these bases in which attack Spanish ships. So that's probably why they came south instead of going up towards Maine and Newfoundland and all that stuff up there, because there was too many pirates. Uh, Perhaps there might have been precious commodities or stones like gold, but it turned out no gold had turned up, and the Brits at least introduced to the tobacco and potatoes. So the tobacco industry started right here, Virginia and North Carolina stuff. What's up, Wayne's World of Rock? How we doing, dude? Um, let's see. Barlow returned home and talked of the goods, all the tobacco and the potatoes and the woods full of deer and stuff, so that this was a good land to actually go and make a colony. How profitable this land could likely succeed. Barlow wrote relations with Native Americans, which I'll turn the music back on because you guys can hear me. Or not. Yeah, check out Michael. He was just doing an interview. It was really cool. And that was amazing, dude. What's up, Michael? So, that was interesting. I just decided to do this randomly. I was going to do this yesterday, but I'm thinking of going to Roanoke and going and exploring maybe these first settlements. And then we'll get into a different type of ghost story and not missing colony, but ghost pirates and stuff. This has to do with pirates too. Yeah, I definitely want to see Russell's pictures and any evidence he has. If you're gonna get that stuff, definitely share that out. I want to see, because some of the stuff he's talking about is similar to some of my UFO experiences. I do wish I've seen something coming out of the ocean. That's amazing that he's seen that. Or stuff with jets too. That's crazy. Like flying with jets and a couple UFO he said he's seen. Yeah, gonna send me some stuff. That will be awesome. Alright, I'll continue. Let's see, where was I? Let's see, there we go. How profitable the lands and the Native American, which in truth had been strained, were cast as a positive light. Because in the beginning, an image of jolly Native Americans swapping goods and portrayed 50 furs for one copper pot. Sent every day a brace or two of fat bucks, conies, hares. So they're talking deer and bunnies and all these things that they were trading with the Native Americans. Fruits, melons, walnuts. Barlow was distressed by the region's religious habits, but to best make things sound idyllic, no better way to drum up further investment from the ambassadors Monto and uh, Wanachie. Those were the Manitou and Wanachie were the Native American tribes in North Carolina. It's not far from here. I can actually get there in like under an hour. And then some of these colonies and stuff, I would love to see it. In 1584, 1885, a second, more substantial expedition was launched under the command of Richard Grenville Riley. While always the backer of the project, never took trouble to visit 600 or so people, mostly soldiers, but also a fair few kids, women, children. Um, I'll give you guys a picture of what. So, Walter Riley and the man behind the Roanoke adventure, that's him. And then that's the Queen. Queen Elizabeth I, patron of the many overseas adventures, Ranlo included. Oh, Roanoke included. So, craftsmen set up camp at a fortification that began at the great strides were made by the scientist Thomas Harriot. Delved into the region's flora and fauna, and they also started to produce maps and different paintings, which in watercolor and define European understanding of the North American seaboard and coast. Generations to come, unfortunately, loss of supplies en route meant that the would-be colonists were a rather precautious position. So dealing to the local tribes were of great importance. These did not progress terribly well after a few years. While some useful relationships were certainly established, the situation in general shifted from nice and downright frosty and nice to downright hostile. Who were these Englishmen intruding and spreading disease? Appears to have been the entirety relationship party line, for the first part of the English settlers became increasingly brutish. Greenfield thought that they should flee and not engage, but spent more profitable privateering, learning Ralph Lane and 100 soldiers to sustain the presence at Roanoke. So he's going to return soon enough. Just a handful of troops were entrusted to take the task of sustaining the English presence. The lack of deep water port also made Roanoke less attractive. Propositions for moving and seemed aims to no shifted, so perhaps it was wiser to seek haven elsewhere, with the Chesapeake Bay at the head of the list. So that's when Jamestown came into, because that was the real first settlement, Jamestown, that survived. This settlement didn't, but mine of the words were Chickasaw. Oh yeah, I know you were trying to speak Chickasaw the other day. That was fun. Let's see. This was not the end of the story, however. In 1987, John Welter led a third expedition. The goal was to heed the Chesapeake, but the mission stopped after Roanoke's accesses to the situation. This caused arguments, and decision was made. White appointed governor, and 117 followers traveled to once more labor and establish Roanoke colony. It did not go well, because these are the 117 that went back, and let's just keep going. It's not much more, but George Howe being found dead. So this was the first person to die at Roanoke. He was found dead and impaled with 16 arrows in the woods. Colonists returned the favor by cataloging mishaps, and misunderstandings ensued. And securing supplies and support in England, White traversed the Atlantic to provide a case of bad timing. That was Spanish Armada, and the seas got blocked by Spanish Armadas. White's return to America delayed, but he finally made the trip back in 1590. So there was like 2 or 3 years. Yeah, 3 years that he went back to England to get more supplies. Came back in 3 years, and let's say Roanoke is quite the mystery. It did not take long for the speculation to begin. The letter CRO were found carved into a tree, and one word carved into a post, Croatoan, had been inscribed on the post. This fitted with the idea of the prearranged signal being left behind by the colonists if they had ever moved, or if they had been forced to decamp and move situations. They also leave the sign of the cross, white sauce, no cross, so he was hopeful that the colonists were still alive somewhere, but where? Obvious candidate was Croatoan, an island named for a local tribe, present day Hatteras Island, which is Inception. So I would like to go metal detect on Hatteras Island. I'm sure there's some treasure there and stuff. Um, there's probably some cool stuff. I know I've seen Josh Gates go do it, and they have some new info that the colony probably did move to either the island or started living with the Native Americans. I'll be remaking that movie, mainly making it in clips like daytime exploration footage and nighttime camping footage. It leads to discovery of the mound. I did like that, dude. That was cool. Just like a found footage, and you are actually showing like, real evidence of stuff you've heard out there or had happen, which is really cool. If I was there, I'd put on a scary costume and run around in the woods for you. Make it really scary. So let's finish this up. There's only like 3 more paragraphs. Croatoan Island was the obvious conclusion. Present day Hatteras Island. But White was obligated to sail home and never had the opportunity to test his theory. Various attempts were made to solve the puzzle. An expedition in 1603, for the example, a various mission following the establishment of Jamestown Colony in 1607. Um, but 400 years later, we simply cannot be sure what happened exactly to the colonists. 117 people disappeared. Some have suggested that this not once proof for the Spanish arrived and destroyed Roanoke Colony. Others wonder if the colonists decided to risk the sea voyage back home and maybe they sank. Perhaps the locals simply decided to massacre the colony of 117 people. Most intriguing, perhaps, is the possibility or notion that the colonists, stranded and living through the suggested truly awful spell of weather, opted assimilated themselves into local population or started living with the Native Americans. He might get kicked in the nads if I scare you good enough. Let's see. All manners of clues have popped up over the years, but none of them are conclusive. Archaeological work has found English items in various places, but this is evidence of Roanoke's people and presence, or just results of trading goods. Stone buildings alien to the indigenous tribes have been located, a hint that some ex-Roanokers were residents in the various Native American groups. Various Native American groups have suggested that they are folk and descendants of Roanoke colonists, but they still remain in the category of oral, undefinable history despite the efforts of modern DNA and scientific pin downs of false leads and also abundant mortually so-called Dare stones named for Eleanor Dare, the daughter of John White, marked. So they have actually done like DNA testing and like archaeological digs and tried to figure out if some of these like stone buildings standing were the Roanoke colonists. There's a lot in here. I got a few more paragraphs. Let's see. John White's daughter marked with an inscription a purpose to tell the tale what transpired in the 1580s. They talked to Slaughter and a handful of other survivors, but most scholars believe that one possibility, one possible exception, these artifacts are either fakes or just lost items from other colonists that were setting up and trading with Native Americans. Theories have stretched to the limits of the bizarre, even cannibalism, and suggested historians continue to grapple with the mystery. A recent highlight was discovered of the sign on a map hidden beneath a patch of only visible via backlighting. So a hidden symbol on a map was discovered, and yeah, that's the map there. And they found it by lighting up the back of the map, and you can see through it. And they actually found something. What's going on, everybody? Hi, Fawn. Hey, Andy. Sam Haim. Good to see you, dude. Sorry I'm late. I had to take the dogs out. No, you're good. I'm just reading the story of Roanoke Island, and it's not too far from me. So one day I'm gonna go check this place out. I want to do some metal detecting. I want to find pirate treasure. Maybe even see the spot where Croatoan was carved into the post. And I just love these kind of stories. I'm gonna read another one too. I got another one. This place that's like an hour away that I want to get to. Yeah, good to see you, dude. Yeah, thanks for sharing out stuff, Mike. You guys are awesome. I'll keep reading. I got a little bit more here. The discovery of a sign on a map hidden beneath the patch of only visible via backlighting may have indicated the presence of a resettled fort 80 kilometers, like 50 miles, uh, or so from Roanoke. So there's like a hidden thing on this map that shows maybe it was a new settlement that they moved. See, I never knew that one. I'm glad I'm reading this. More than one tribe were caught up in a conflict and blotted out. It is one suspect of the puzzle which today could be solved after all the archaeological digs continue, but the not knowing has been phenomenally important impact on our culture. Ever since almost every American school child is likely to be able to tell you something about Roanoke, it is a puzzling story and one everything going terribly wrong. Thomas Harriot, who had therefrom start wrote Roanoke had to offer. He talked about other offers for pearls, sugarcane, aluminum on the coastline, and all kinds of grasses and country upon blades. There groweth very good silk in the form of glittering skin, quite the paradise, but whatever the specifics, perhaps one of the reasons the English lost out was that they behaved badly towards the people who had lived there for the many centuries. So then there's one little part here that was Virginia Dare and the Creation of a Mystery. Few figures let it encapsulate the American fascination with what happened at Roanoke, then Virginia. There are people in the past about who knew the great deal, others almost entirely lacking when it comes to biographical detail. Virginia Dare is a solidarity letter camp, but this is not dismissed by extraordinary influencers of American culture. She was the granddaughter of the colony's governor, John White, and often suggested that there was the first child of English ancestry ever to be born, 1587, in New England. Along with all the other Roanoke settlers, she had vanished by time. White returned in 1590 and her mystique had proven to be addictive. Dare had been used an advertising symbol for everything from candy to wine. She had been perceived as a model of female fortitude, as the ultimate proto-American, being one of the first Americans. She happily named her image to be recruited an alarming number of bigoted groups during the Civil Rights era. Racist claim she had symbols of supposed racial purity and administration continues till this day, and those are the oppose immigration and are apt to invoke her name, which has to be silly since her parents traveled across the ocean to her birthplace. Dare had been one of the first people born in the Americas, subject to countless films and novels, and her way captures the frustrating, unearthly Roanoke mystery. So there's a portrait of them blessing that little girl, the first little girl born in. Um, so this I've been to. I believe she's buried in St. Paul's, or no, St. John's Cemetery from 1610. That's over in Hampton. And I know one of the first Jamestown colonist kids born there was buried at St. John's 1610 church and graveyard. So I'm thinking that's who it is, Virginia Dare, and that's her name. I don't know. I wasn't reading that very well. It's really tiny print. But hey, Pomp, what's going on? How's everybody doing? Parasolo, what's going on? So I'll get another. I'm at work, but I hope you're all doing good. Thanks, dude. Thanks for popping in. Yeah, this later on I'm gonna go do some metal detecting. I'm gonna do another story. This Roanoke is so interesting to me, and Croatoan, Roanoke. This stuff's not far from me here in Virginia, so um, I do want to go check that out. I want to get there. I want to even bring my metal detector. I want to do some research and find the actual like spots where these colonies might have used to been, like, and see if I see any like of the old structures. See if I can find any artifacts. So I do have one more. I gotta have to find it in my book. So this next one is one of my favorites that I've just been researching, and I'm probably going to be going to in the next coming weeks. Not anytime like right now. I have to plan it, and it's a spooky spot. It's called Old House Woods, and I'm going to read you the story about it and some of the ghost folklore and myths and stuff. Um, it's a short one, but I do plan on doing a lot more. I am in about a week. I'm going up to Massachusetts, back to the Bridgewater Triangle, so I'll be doing a few things out there. Yeah, if you guys have any suggestions, there's the Witch's Tree, the Woods, the abandoned 1786 house. Those three I'm probably going to try and do up in the Bridgewater Triangle up in Massachusetts. But if you lived any closer, we could turn some of this into a found footage film. Yeah, I'm going to do some fun stuff like that. I do want to make some scary stuff. Still battling on. Yeah, same. Hey, I keep doing these, and not a lot of people watch my stuff, but um, that last investigation I did, which didn't really turn into a big investigation or anything, it was more of an explorer of colonial Williamsburg. When we walked up to that armory, the powder hold, or the powder magazine, it's a building that holds all the cannonballs, TNT, and all the explosives. Um, I was reading the sign. I looked up. Alicia started reading the rest of that sign, and I have a short video of it. But during the live chat, you can hear hammering. I was not expecting that. We didn't hear it at the time, so it's very clear there's hammering or like knocking right on that building, and they are working on that building. But it was 10 o'clock at night, and nobody was around. It was just me and her standing in front of the building, and we got this weird knocking. So I definitely want to go back to Williamsburg. I'll do that again. Colonial Williamsburg, definitely a haunted area. You could feel it. The Witch's Tree, Ryan, in the dark. Yeah, I will. I will be doing the Witch's Tree. The family Perkins, I think it is buried under that tree. Supposedly all witches, and the tree is bent over. The last time I went there, a huge lightning storm came up, and we had to leave because there was lightning not even a quarter mile. We caught it on tape. Well, my sister-in-law did. And I'm excited because I get to see my family and go swimming and and my kids get to go play with some of their cousins and their friends up there. Hi, Cass. So, I'll read that story in a second. This one I have been researching. Uh-oh. Aha! I got a danger baby coming. So, I'll read this story. This one I'm going to be going to probably when I come back from Massachusetts. Uh, Hi, Bert. Yeah, you're definitely going to sound like you have a bird in your house, but it's my bird. I can't. You borrow Agatha Christie, the witch. Hold on. Disappeared. Agatha Christie, the witch that I have always goes off for no reason for that investigation. Yeah, that is a good little device you got. Let's read Old House Woods. I'll be done in a moment. We'll go play. Alright, so this one's called Old House Woods. I've researched it. It is in like the middle of nowhere, like near the ocean, and tales of pirates. And here we go, Agatha. Good play on words. Virginia is home to one of the most haunted forests known. It's Old House Woods. The woods are located just outside the coastal town known as Diggs in Matthews County. While most of the woods in Virginia are quiet and peaceful and beautiful, Old House Woods is just a strange. I'm gonna kick him out. You're yelling, and you know what? You do this only when I'm doing the live check. Come here. You get kicked out. Calm down. All right. Okay, you can hang there. Will you calm down? Okay. No, he's not happy. Wayne's World, thanks for coming in. Thank you for the story. I know of the Roanoke story. Cheers. Well, this one's Old House Woods, and I plan on going to this one once after I come back from Massachusetts. It's only like an hour from my house, so it will be definitely spooky and fun. The Old House Woods, near the Chesapeake Bay area, which is known for its pristine coastal beauty. There are several strange and mysterious legends at Old House Woods. It's known for one of the most active patches of woods in a 50-acre area of dense pine wood and marshlands near White's Creek. The area once served for a port to the pirates and of the Revolutionary War soldiers who wanted to hide out. One of the mysterious things about Old House Woods is centered on an abandoned house known as the Franny Knight House. It's said to be in the middle of the woods, and people say the house sets itself on fire and then puts itself out. Eventually, the house burned to the ground. See, I'd like to see if I could find some evidence of that. That'd be cool to find, like, an old house burnt down out in the woods. That's part of the legend. Happy Tuesday. Taco Tuesday. This house sets itself on fire and then puts itself out. It is eventually burned down to the ground, but there have been reports of people seeing a massive ghostly ship with lights and crewmen sail off of the Chesapeake Bay through the fog and dock on the water's edge of the woods. The ghost ship docks along the banks of the Whites Creek, and the ghostly crew climbs out in search for their treasures they buried there hundreds of years ago. The pirates and the ship were swept away in a huge storm and never recovered their treasure. Another legend about the ghost ship says that it sailed above the waters and continued above the tree line before becoming to a full stop, and the ropes were lowered, then dropped down. Ghostly crew of pirates climbed down into the forest. Another story of these Incredible Tales says that some of the ghostly figures are headless. It is believed that the pirates buried their treasure in the woods during the days of piracy, and another tale dates back to 1929, when a man reported that he had been approached by a group of strangers carrying lanterns and they gave off a mysterious glow. As the group moved closer to the man, he discovered that they were skeletons wearing old fashioned armor and carrying swords. Another, that's 1929. I wonder if that was just like in the newspaper and people were like, oh my god. Closest abandoned place is like 2, 3 miles into the woods. I'd go with you, dude. I'd hike 2, 3 miles to go to an abandoned place in the woods. Yeah, maybe get one of those little scooters, like electric little dirt bike thing or a moped. You could probably ride that through some of the woods. Eating apple pie and sending texts at the same time. How else do you propose hiking if not on foot? Yeah, no, they got some stuff nowadays. You can just get a little dirt bike and ride that out there. A little four wheeler, the electric bike. Those some of them have off road tires and stuff. Uh, where was I? Skeletons wearing armor and carrying swords. Another legend associated with the old house woods is that of the Storm Woman. This is another one where I've actually gone to Point Comfort Lighthouse over on Fort Monroe, right over here, and it's a very similar story. Um, and then similar story to the Willoughby Spit Shadow Man. That's a man on this beach, but the Storm Woman is a beautiful fair-haired spirit wearing a nightgown that makes an appearance when the gale is coming off the bay. She then rises above the treetops, shrieking in warning of the weather pattern and anyone approaching the water. The appearance of the ghostly images and strange lights and sound of footsteps, cannon fire, and disembodied voices have also been experienced in the old house woods. These woods have also people have experienced spook lights, but it doesn't say spook lights. I just call them that. Willow of the wisp, ghost orbs, balls of light orbs. Some people say it's ball lightning. Yeah, 3 miles of walking in those woods. Mike's got hills and mountains and stuff. So this is a spot I'm going to be going to soon. Old House Woods. Hopefully, I have some activity when I do. Um, I'm probably going to be getting out of here and going to the beach. I'll probably do a metal detecting video. Tonight, I don't know what I'm going to do. I never know what I'm going to do, if it will be a UFO Skywatch or if I'll grab my equipment and maybe go to Fort Monroe or do something else. What are you guys all up to? How's your Tuesday? Thanks everybody for coming and just listening to my silly tales of Roanoke and Old House Woods. Yeah, I really I'm gonna do a couple things today, and then tomorrow I'm not sure what else I'll be doing because maybe some skateboarding. I got to do some other stuff other than just paranormal. I can't do investigations all the time. I got kind of burnt out in doing investigations and then getting mad at like getting evidence and it's just kind of overlooked. But it's really more for me anyway. Whether people believe me or not, it doesn't matter to me anymore. I think I got into my own head too much about it because doing this stuff is difficult. Investigating paranormal is not easy. My ass great. to learn about Russell Kellett's experiences. I am looking forward to if he sends you some photos. I definitely want to see that. From what he was talking about, it seems like he's had similar experiences to my UFO experiences, even yours. Uh, yeah, UFOs is always an interesting one. Hi again, Fawn. Spending the rest of my night winding down from a crappy day at work. Yeah. Yep. I don't usually get like days off. I'm either working around the house, watching kids, doing whatever. Alicia's working, and then nighttime. I'm glad she's not working till 11 anymore. So Alicia should be coming out with me more on some investigations and stuff, which will be nice. Um, Definitely doing Crawford Road again. I might even read that one. That one's in here. Just because Crawford Road is crazy. I don't know if I want to go to the freaking Crawford Road by myself. I did hang out with some friends last night, and my buddy Chase and his girlfriend said they've been to Crawford Road, and I was thinking maybe I could bring a group of people and have more eyes during a live stream or something, because they're down for it. So maybe sometime I'll be doing, yeah, 3 other people with me and just see if they have any experiences. I got tea. I got iced tea. Who broke something? Yeah, I don't know if I could find it right now, but Gray Shortwood, Fort Monroe. I got all the stories of different places that I want to go right here. Yeah, if you can share some of that, even if it's just on Discord or whatever, I want to see some of his photos or videos. But yeah, I'll be back soon. I'm gonna probably go to the beach. Do you want to see? You want him to be on camera? It's okay. Say hi. Hi. We're gonna go to the beach soon. Is that other kid away? Okay, well, I'm gonna probably grab my metal detector and go treasure hunt. Don't cry, buddy. I'm coming. All right, you guys rock. Stay spooky. Have a great day. I'll be back soon. Keep an eye out. I'll probably be going live later tonight. Have a great day, everybody. Happy Tuesday. Have some tacos. Yeah, I'm gonna find some treasure, Sam Hain. I am. I'm gonna find pirate treasure. Damn it. All right, everybody. Have a good one. Peace out.